It's still early days, but it's already clear that the atmosphere around Ibrox is shifting, and two names seem to be at the center of it all: Tel Argard and Yousef Chamatai. The season may have started with uncertainty, but Rangers fans are finally beginning to see signs of promise, flashes of flair, and players who look ready to leave everything on the pitch. Let's talk about what's happening behind the scenes, the energy on the training ground, and the hunger in this new-look Rangers squad. When Tel Argard made his summer move to Glasgow, there was curiosity and pressure. A player coming from Luton Town, carrying the price tag and the expectations of a fan base that's been craving creativity in midfield. Fast forward a few weeks, and the 23-year-old Norwegian is starting to justify every bit of that faith. His performance in the Premier Sports Cup quarter-final against Hibernian was one of those nights that sticks. Rangers took a solid 2-0 win, but beyond the scoreline, it was Argard's movement, vision, and control in that number 10 role that stood out. This wasn't just another match, it felt like a statement. A message that he's here not just to fill a gap, but to command that midfield and bring a new identity to the squad. And it's not just at club level where he's shining. Earlier in September, Argard turned out for Norway and bagged 4 goals in an 11-1 thrashing of Moldova. 4 goals. For a midfielder, that kind of form doesn't go unnoticed, and it clearly gave him the confidence boost he needed heading into the crunch fixtures with Rangers. But his journey hasn't been without setbacks. Just as he looked ready to kick off his campaign, a frustrating injury kept him out of early action, including a key clash against Panathinaikos. His father, Jonathan, spoke about that tough moment, admitting it was a real blow when Tel had to sit out games he'd been preparing for all summer. Still, even with that early obstacle, Argard's presence is now being felt. Rangers have been searching for consistency and spark in the middle of the park for some time. Lyle Cameron showed promise after arriving from Dundee, but Tel brings something different, a mix of Scandinavian grit and technical finesse that might just be what this team has been missing. In just 7 appearances, he's begun to stamp his authority on matches. He looks composed under pressure, reads the game with maturity, and brings a level of intensity that lifts those around him. It's not hard to see why the club was willing to spend over £3 million to get him in. And while all eyes are on Argard's rise, there's another player quietly preparing to make his own impact. Yousef Chamatai's journey has been a bit different, not coming in with immediate expectations to start, but certainly with something to prove. Signed on deadline day for a hefty fee, the young Portuguese striker came north looking to put a turbulent spell at Everton behind him. His time in England didn't go to plan. No senior goals in 2 years, and a tough stretch marked by injury and adaptation struggles. But now, at just 21 years old, he's landed in Glasgow with a fresh mindset and a clean slate. So far, Chamatai's minutes have mostly come off the bench. Bojan Majovski has been the go-to number 9 in Russell Martin's preferred 4-3-3 formation. But make no mistake, Chamatai is not here just to make up the numbers. He's hungry, determined, and already vocal about his desire to earn more game time. In an interview with the club's matchday program, he opened up about his transition to life at Ibrox, expressing genuine surprise at how welcoming everyone's been. He said he feels happy, settled, and more motivated than ever to show what he's capable of. He also touched on his decision to join Rangers, saying he didn't hesitate when the opportunity came. A conversation with Kevin Thel and a meeting with Russell Martin convinced him this was the right place to grow. He even reached out to a former teammate, Mateus Fernandes, who had worked with Martin at Southampton, and got a glowing recommendation. It's clear that this move wasn't just about a fresh start. It was a calculated step forward in his career. And above all, Chamatai stressed that it's not about the money, it's about football, about minutes on the pitch, about proving to himself and others that he can deliver at this level. One of the things that stands out in Chamatai's story is the way he speaks about his relationship with Russell Martin. He highlighted the importance of having a coach he can communicate with, something he admits was missing during his early days at Sporting. Being able to speak openly, ask questions, and seek advice. It might sound simple, but for a young player finding his way, it can make all the difference. Chamatai knows he hasn't arrived yet, but you can sense he's on the right track. His mindset is focused, his body is healthy, and his confidence is growing. And even though the goals haven't started flowing yet, there's a quiet belief that it's only a matter of time. His Everton spell may not have gone to plan, but it shaped him. 2 years without a goal, battling through injuries, and facing tough criticism. That kind of stretch can break a player. But Chamatai credits those experiences for making him stronger. He said himself, "Now, if something happens on the pitch, he knows how to deal with it." The Scottish League feels familiar to him. The culture is close to what he experienced in England, and most importantly, his English has improved. He's not isolated anymore. He's not the shy kid who couldn't communicate. He's part of a team. And more than that, he's part of a club that believes in him. There's a sense that both Argard and Chamatai represent something bigger at Rangers right now. A new direction. A shift towards building a team with purpose, identity, and long-term vision. Argard is already taking his chance, showing glimpses of becoming the midfield maestro Ibrox has been craving. Chamatai is working quietly but with clear intent, and the hunger is there for everyone to see. Yes, the start to the season has been shaky. In fact, statistically, it's been the worst league start since 1978. But that doesn't mean there isn't hope. Quite the opposite. The recent win over Hibernian wasn't just important for the result. It marked the return of Nicholas Raskin to the starting 11, and not just that, but his deployment in a deeper number 6 role brought an entirely new dynamic to the midfield. Raskin got on the scoresheet, and more importantly, he looked comfortable dictating play from deep. That adjustment might also unlock Mohamed Diamand, who has struggled for consistency while the team has searched for the right formula in midfield. Now, with Raskin sitting deep, Argard creating in the 10 role, and Diamand free to break forward, Rangers might finally have the midfield balance they've been missing. Tel Argard waited patiently for his chance, but he's not wasting a second of it now. Every touch, every pass, every attacking run is building a case for him to be the centerpiece of this new-look Rangers. And with players like Chamatai pushing hard for their own breakthroughs, the sense around the club is shifting. It's not perfect yet, and no one's pretending it is. But the pieces are starting to come together. And while Tel Argard and Yousef Chamatai begin carving their places into the fabric of this Rangers side, there's a bigger conversation unfolding around Ibrox. One that dives deep into recruitment, expectations, and whether the club is putting too much weight on the shoulders of untested talent. The name at the heart of this debate? Mikey Moore. Brought in with plenty of fanfare after a breakthrough season at Tottenham, the young winger arrived with hopes high and comparisons already flying. But not every transition is smooth, and right now, it seems like the pressure might be outweighing the support. Moore is just 18, a teenager. Yet when he made the move north, there was an air of urgency surrounding his signing. Rangers fans had seen highlight reels, heard the buzz from London, and were sold on the idea that this was a future star ready to explode. But football doesn't work on hype alone, especially not in the Scottish Premiership, where physicality, pace, and consistency are non-negotiable. So far, Moore hasn't quite found his rhythm in a Rangers shirt. He's looked hesitant, unsure at times, and still seems to be figuring out how to impose himself in a squad that's already battling for identity. The frustration isn't just from the stands. It's seeping into the wider football conversation, with pundits starting to question the wisdom of putting so much responsibility on such young players. Some have pointed out that the strategy feels flawed, investing heavily in loan fees for youngsters who still need development, instead of securing ready-made players who can deliver impact from day one. And when you're a team trying to bounce back from a poor start and challenge for titles, the margin for error gets even tighter. Rangers went winless in their first 5 league matches this season. That's not a stat anyone at Ibrox is proud of. In fact, it's their worst opening since 1978. And that kind of pressure at the top often trickles down. Players like Moore, who should be allowed time to adjust, instead find themselves thrust into the spotlight. They're asked to spark the attack, to create chances, to become game changers in a team still searching for confidence. It's a heavy load, and it's fair to ask whether it's one he should be carrying right now. Add to that the tactical imbalance on the wings, and it becomes even clearer why Moore's integration hasn't clicked. Rangers are overloaded with right-footed attackers who prefer cutting in from the left, which has forced Moore into a role on the right, a side he's not entirely comfortable with. He's being asked to adapt quickly, to learn a new role while the team around him is still trying to settle. It's no wonder he's looked out of sync. The raw ability is there. You can see the flashes when he takes a defender on or finds space between the lines, but it's scattered, unrefined, and in need of nurturing, not pressure. There's a growing feeling that this might be a classic case of too much, too soon. Not just for Moore, but for the recruitment strategy in general. While clubs across Europe look to blend experience with youth, Rangers seem to be leaning heavily on potential. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Clubs need to think long-term. But when your short-term goals involve winning matches, climbing the table, and lifting silverware, potential alone won't cut it. You need results, you need leaders, and you need players who can handle the demands of Ibrox week in, week out. That's why some fans and analysts are calling for a reset in approach. Take J.D. Gazimar, for example. A more experienced presence on the left, he's quietly become one of the few attacking bright spots in the early part of the season. He looks composed, aware, and effective in his positioning, and crucially, he's not playing out of position. He's a left-sided player, operating on the left, doing what he knows best. It's the kind of logic that feels missing when looking at how Moore has been used so far. There's also the broader issue of squad balance. You've got talent in abundance, but fitting it together into a coherent system has been a real challenge. Russell Martin is under pressure, no question. The early results have fans restless, and when you add the weight of expectation that comes with managing a club like Rangers, every decision gets scrutinized. Every lineup, every substitution, every missed chance becomes a talking point. And while Martin's long-term vision might include developing young players and building a dynamic, attacking side, the reality is that he needs to deliver now. Supporters aren't going to wait around for potential to turn into performances. Still, even amid the growing concerns, there's belief that the squad can turn the corner. The return of Raskin was a major boost, not just because of his goal, but because of the control he brings to the base of midfield. With him anchoring the play, Argard given license to roam, and someone like Diamand driving forward, Rangers have the framework for a well-balanced midfield trio. If the defense can hold firm and the attack begins to click, there's no reason this team can't climb the table and challenge on multiple fronts. The question is whether the supporting cast, the Mikey Moores, the Chamaitis, can step up and grow into their roles without being suffocated by expectations. Rangers fans are famously passionate, but they also know their football. They can see when a player is being asked to do too much too soon. What they want is fight, character, and signs that the squad is moving in the right direction. And let's be fair, Moore isn't the first young talent to struggle with the weight of a big move. Many have come through difficult starts only to shine later. What he needs now is guidance, patience, and a clear plan for his development. If the coaching staff can give him that, and if the system can be adjusted to suit his strengths, there's still a chance that he can become the player so many hoped he would be when he first arrived. So as the season unfolds, the eyes will stay on the stars like Argard. But there will also be just as much focus on the fringe players, the workhorses, the raw prospects fighting for a chance. Because if Rangers are going to truly compete, not just survive the early storm but come out of it stronger, they'll need everyone ready. The veterans, the youngsters, the unsung heroes. And in a league that punishes hesitation, the time to step up is now. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers are swirling through the cobbled closes of Glasgow this week, and if they prove true, we might be standing on the brink of one of the most astonishing transfers Scottish football has seen in decades. Word on the street is that Rangers have pulled off a coup of sensational proportions. Jaime Vardy, yes, that Jaime Vardy, is on the verge of donning the famous blue shirt. Supporters, already buzzing with anticipation for the season ahead, have been left in stunned disbelief at the suggestion that the Leicester City legend could soon be plying his trade at Ibrox. The rumor first emerged in hushed tones around local pubs, before spreading like wildfire across message boards and social media. Rangers, always keen to make a statement both at home and in Europe, are said to have tabled a contract described by insiders as absolutely bombastic. If confirmed, this would not only bring a Premier League title winner north of the border, but also a proven goalscorer whose story has already been etched into English football folklore. From non-league obscurity to leading Leicester's miracle march to the summit, Vardy's name carries with it the aura of grit, pace, and relentless finishing. The question now on every fan's lips is simple. Could this really be happening? Skeptics point to his age and loyalty to Leicester, while optimists argue that Rangers' ambition, European stage, and roaring Ibrox nights might just be the perfect lure. There is talk of Vardy craving one last grand adventure before hanging up his boots, and few arenas could match the passion of a Glasgow derby under the floodlights. As of now, neither club has confirmed nor denied the chatter, which only adds fuel to the fire. But one thing is certain. The very idea of Jaime Vardy sprinting through Scottish defences in front of the Copeland Road stand has set pulses racing. Should the deal materialise, it would send shockwaves through the Scottish Premiership and beyond, marking Rangers as not only title contenders, but also fearless operators in the transfer market. Until then, the city waits, whispers grow louder, and the dream of Vardy party at Ibrox refuses to fade. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.